Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. I hope you guys are having just a fantabulous day that ends in Y. That your full moon was plentiful and peaceful and did what you needed it to do. I hope so. If not, well, I suppose we've got next month. Maybe burn some sage, right? So we are being broadcast live tonight, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, Tune In, and TalkStream Live, and also in on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe. You know the drill. I hope. If it's not your first time, it's that thumbs up. It's the like. Yes. But no matter how you are listening, make sure you stop in and say hi in either one of the chat rooms or send me the email at wildepaisley@gmail.com. And that's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. And if you want to know more about me and what I do and buy the book, I have a book. So stuck underneath the Havamal. You can tell I'm sitting at Don's desk, right? This is the book, The Wild Pagan, A to Z. Yep. And that's on there. Autographed copy, buy it from the website. Regular copy, you can buy it from Amazon. Either way, same price. Yeah, so that's PaisleyWild.com. And then, let's see what else is there. Oh, if you want to just support the radio habit, you can do that by going to the cash tag, and that is $TheSpacesBetween. Basically, it just gives me that financial boost to buy the things, to make sure I've got the good equipment, the camera, the mood lighting behind me, that kind of thing. Or, if you don't want to do that, I totally get it. It's all right. I understand. And then, as long as you're doing research and such, because I tell you to research all the time, check out iLife.com. iLife is the official sponsor for Truth Frequency Radio. iLife combines the best non-psychoactive properties of the ayahuasca plant with high-quality CBD to help support what heals or what ails you, or heals you, that kind of thing. Basically, what you need. So yeah. Now, I do have the bowls, so we will do the singing bowls. I promise. Yes. So Wanda says it was a dark, bright, burning orange moon last night, and the Ville was very dark everywhere, smoke in the air. Yeah, it was. So here in the Pacific Northwest, for those of you who don't know, it's been very smoky. And unfortunately, that smoke has been spreading across the country. And that smoke is from a couple of really big fires. There's a big one in California. There's a big one in Oregon. I think there's a big one in Canada. The one in Oregon is the third biggest fire they've ever had since they started recording that sort of thing. So it's kind of a big deal. Locally here in North Idaho, there's one across the ridge from where I'm at, and it's in rocky terrain, and it's really hard for them to combat, so that's kind of a big deal. And then, if you have ever heard of Silverwood Theme Park, which is in the Coeur d'Alene area, well, they've had a fire kind of in their backyard. As of this moment, the theme park is fine, but they are closed just in case. They did evacuations and stuff. So normally I don't go into the prepper type mentality on the show because that's not what I'm promoting. But at the same time, we should all be ready to do what we need to do. So in my mind, a prepper is someone who is prepared for the just in case. And because sometimes you just need to be ready, because sometimes the power goes out. You make sure you've got the candles, you've got a way to stay warm or stay cool, extra medications. Snowstorms happen, rainstorms happen depending on where you're at. and just making sure you're ready. And then I live close to a railroad, and here it's been about 10 years at the railroad here. There was a train going by, and we had a flash flood, and it washed out part of the dirt underneath the railroad, and so the train derailed and dumped about 30 cars full of soybeans out everywhere. Made a big mess. And soybeans is pretty easy. Well, hello, Mr. Woods Wizard. Hi. But anyways, the soybeans, soybeans are pretty, inert, and the deer like them and such. But, if it had been something else, a little more hazardous, we may have needed to evacuate. So having a go bag or something you can grab with your pertinence, your IDs, your mementos, that kind of thing. A little dab of medication just in case. And I'm saying these things not to scare you, but it is better to be ready in case something happens rather than have something happen and not be ready. So, yes. All right, so I hear people talking about singing bowl already. So real quick, Wanda says that I got a new bowl. It is needing a cleansing first, right? How should I do it? Well, generally speaking, your singing bowls are going to be made out of metal composite, like this one. Not always. They do have crystal bowls, so those are a little different. So with the metal bowls, yes, you can run them underwater. I would just dry them thoroughly because they are made out of many different materials. It's like lead, copper, not lead, copper, zinc, gold, silver. I'd have to look it up. So yeah, it would, it's kind of necessary just in case. To cleanse it, water is good. You can use your moon water to cleanse. Honestly, water itself is very cleansing, just straight from the tap. If you have city water, you'd want to leave it to rest for about 24 hours so that any chemicals like chlorine have a chance to evaporate. But if that's not the case, you just have well water or spring water. Yep, running water is good. Salt, you can cleanse with salt. The salt's very good. You can also do smoke, like sage smoke, Palo Santo smoke, a blessing smoke that is specific or something that you use for meditation or for cleansing your area, that kind of thing. And you can just waft the smoke around the bowl. Now, it looks like Lewis said you had a tuning fork. Sure, you can use a tuning fork. Hey, Brent. I would just be careful with the tuning fork because it is a different tone, and you want to make sure you're not confusing your tones. So yeah, real quick. You can cleanse in moonlight and sunlight also. So just, be aware. There are different ways. Now, if you have a stone or a crystal singing bowl, pretty much the same. Just some stones or some crystals do not react as well to water. You don't want anything to dissolve them. Wanda says silver and something else. I would just go with the salt or the smoke. Just because it's a dry component, it's not going to cause it to tarnish or anything like that. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of smoke out there. So if you do have breathing issues, make sure you've checked in with your doctor. If you have a inhaler that you can use, that's a good thing to have too. And bug out bags, you know what? It's not bad to have one. When I was much, much younger and a lot more independent and didn't have dependents and that kind of thing, I kept an overnight bag in my trunk just because, sometimes we would go do things and it would take a day or two to get back. And I say we because it was a group of us. We didn't generally do dates. We went in groups. And I remember a drive-in movie theater one time, went in the rain, and we had a mud fight at the drive-in movie theater. It was great. And we were just a total mess. So, yeah, it was just awesome. Wanda says it's a yin and yang bowl, which is different, but I like it. That is very cool. I'd love to see a picture. That's awesome. Singing bowls, I think, are just an unsung hero or unsung tool that we should have more of. They're good for meditation. They're good for cleansing. They're good for just sound therapy in general. So, anyways, moving on. If I frown slightly at the screen, it's because I'm not wearing my glasses. I don't know what the dealio is. They're not working for me tonight. So, yeah, it's probably time to go back to the eye doctor for crying out loud. Yeah, gotta love them, right? Oh, well. So tonight, last Saturday of the month, can you believe that? Which is really hard to believe. Well, not quite the last Saturday. I suppose we got another Saturday. But tonight, I thought we'd do dream interpretation. And if there's more, we can always do it next week. Because, yes. Yeah, why not? So if you guys do have dreams you want to talk about, drop them in the show notes, or in the chat rooms, or you can always give me a call. And that number is 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, it is 44203-393-2871. I would be a little careful cleansing things with thunderstorm energy, just because it is a stronger energy and it is often a little more chaotic than streamlined. If you were going to use a weather energy of any kind, I'd just do regular rain or rather regular snow, not a storm of any kind, because chaos is real. Hey, Suzanne. So, yeah. Yes, it's a mocha shake again. Because I wanted ice cream, but I'm not going to sit here and eat a bowl of ice cream in front of y'all. My name's not Dawn. Just say. So what did I have for tonight to talk about? I had a thing. I had it on my phone. You ever save something in that super secret safe place and you're like, well, bloody heck. Where did I put it? So let me see if I can find the thing. Actually, I can find the thing. It's just going to take me a moment. I thought I was more queued up than this. That's the group. Yeah. So, with with a lot of our stones and crystals, I mean, you guys have seen Don's BS cutter, his big selenite sword. I've got my little meditation anxiety rock that I use here. I'll remember what it's called here in a minute. Woods Wizard could tell me, but yeah, I have a selenite wand as well. Mine's just selenite stick, basically. It'd probably knock some sense into somebody. Yes, selenite. You can use selenite to cleanse the singing bowls also, just so you know. Again, one of those dry cleansers. But speaking of crystals, so basic shapes often have different meanings or intentions behind them. And for instance, Don's BS cutter, the big sword or the blade type of cut to it or polish is often used for cord cutting type ceremonies, just because that blade, even though it's not polished, it's not sharp, it is very indicative of a knife. And what do we do with knives? Well, we cut things. And it's not like we're going to take the selenite knife and go chop onions. I suppose you could, but yeah, I would wait. And but yeah, the something to use for cutting cords or ceremonial athame, which is often used for energy work in general. Spheres are generally considered harmonic and energy all around, if you will. Let's see. Where is my thing? Often, the spheres are just really, really pretty. They're very globe-shaped. I've seen like pyrite that's been melted and poured, and as it cools, it forms the spheres and the cubes and the corners and everything. But yet, sometimes there'll be a gap, and it just looks like a geode, even though it's not a geode. It just looks fantastic. But with the spheres, even though it is a crystal, it is a stone, and that you're using it for energy work or for protection or for cleansing or for grounding or what have you. Spheres are often very acceptable in contemporary decor because, well, they just look like they're decoration. Think of the gazing balls that are in the gardens and stuff. Looks like a big giant bowling ball with, metallic spray paint on it so it reflects. Well, same kind of thing. It's a way of having that harmony or that energy available in your space, even if you are in the broom closet or the pagan pantry and you're not wanting to be out to everybody. It's just like, hey, look, isn't this cool energy? Look at my cool rock. I have a cool rock. It's a round rock. You don't have to have, like the the crystal ball like I have, but yeah, it just, hey, look at this cool thing. It's just it's a round carnelian stone or something like that. The sphere itself is a very, very stable shape, and is very, very common in the world. Generally speaking, the planets, the moon, the sun are spherical shape, or a spherical shape. Now, some, depending on the tilt and the rotation, do have a little bit of an egg shape to them, but for the most part, they are spherical. And you can use the spheres for healing. You can use them for scrying, or, like I mentioned earlier, energy work. You balance a sphere of tourmaline on your third eye when you're doing your meditation, lay on your back to protect you from stuff. Yeah, it's a big deal. So yeah, it's a big deal. If you have smaller spheres and not something that's bigger, you can hold them in the palm of your hand. I've done that myself when I've had migraines or headaches, and I've held just a couple of different spheres in my hands, and it helps me to ground and find my center. So if that's something you're looking for, by all means, do it. Spheres are awesome. Stable, very, very stable. Now, as I'm talking about this, I'm going to be talking mostly about shaped stones, which are going to be polished. Sometimes they're going to be natural and not polished. And I've seen a lot of discussion and even argument between polished stones, like my wand here, or cut or rough stones. Aragonite, I think is what this is called now. It's just, you can see the individual crystals, kind of. It's up in your face. But it's rough. It's not polished. It's not cut. And sometimes you need the shape to help guide the energy or to channel the energy a specific way because you're going to use it as a specific tool. Just like if you want to make a hammer and you've got the raw steel to make the hammer and you got it melted and you're like, ooh, well, now what do I do? You don't want to pour it into a big long stick, and it's like, ooh, this is my hammer. You want a block that's going to be able to be mounted to a handle so you can pound things correctly. So often you want to take the raw form and you want to create a specific use tool. Think of the knife sets that you have in your drawers, in your kitchen. You've got the butcher knife, the paring knife, the steak knife, the chef's knife, the fillet knife, scaling knife, depending on where you're at on your tools in your kitchen. You may have quite a few different knives, or you may have one that does everything. Pocket knife, hunting knife, machete is a knife. So all the different blades are made out of essentially the same materials, but they're shaped differently because they are for different purposes. Now, naturally occurring stones do have kind of a more natural vibration or energy to them, but honestly, a stone is a stone is a stone. If you found it in the raw, out in the wild, if you will, it will have more energy for you specifically, or more meaning to you specifically, instead of buying one. But they're just stones, it's, if you have a slab of selenite and you carve off a bunch of chunks of it, it's still all selenite. It's still all cleansing. Now, some people do resound more with the rough stones than they do with the polished ones. It's more of a personal choice or a personal practice. It's not something that you have to do just one thing. Now, some stones, it does help to have them polished and sealed. For instance, black tourmaline can be very, even with selenite, can be very rough and easy to shatter or break. Shungite, for instance, if it's not sealed in some way, it'll leave black dust and marks everywhere. So if you have a rough piece, okay, just expect you may get some dust or some dirt or some contact transfer from the stone to your skin or your clothes or your environment, if it's a rough stone. Not all stones, but quite a few. And then polished stones, generally they are sealed, or they don't have that great of potential to have transfer, or from contact transfer, go from them to the environment or around them. Let's see. So, oops, as I'm talking, my phone went to sleep. I'm using it for my cheat sheet. So clusters, it'd be like the aragonite here. Often that just radiates energy, or it will charge other crystals. Now, aragonite, as I'm using it here, let me tell you what it really, aragonite. So aragonite in general, it's a truth and understanding type of stone, and it's often found around hot springs. Did not know that, but it's really good to combat anger, emotional stress. It's good for strength and support. So this really truly is my anxiety rock. Most people have a fidget stone. It's soft so they can rub their finger on it without all the rough edges, but I really like the rough one. But it's helping me. It radiates the energy to me. And a lot of your rough stones are going to radiate. So think of like an amethyst dragon tooth stone is going to radiate energy a bit more than it would if it was polished. And it's because it's got a point. It's got a direction type tool, like a stylus. That's all. Just a stylus. Let's see. Sometimes those clusters do come in like a geode form. Think like your amethyst, your citrine, that kind of thing, calcite. And sometimes with the geodes specifically, the terminations are located on the inside of the stone rather on the outside. And so if they're not broken, you don't know that they're a geode. So some people will cut, just part of it so they can have slabs or, tables or what have you. But each one of those points is going to emit energy as well. So it's not just the rock itself, but each point will have energy going out. So I'm going to stop there because it's the bottom of the hour already. Just flying by. So we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to keep talking about crystals, rocks, and their meanings, and their shape meanings, excuse me. And then if you have dreams or questions, just by all means, give me a holler. We'll be right back, guys. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. So during break, Justin mentioned in the chat room that if a stone is calling to you, he believes it has a reason and a property that you need at that time in your life. And I agree 100%. If you're out in the wild, and that could be downtown, it could be out on a mountain, it doesn't anywhere. If you're out in the wild, not at home, and you come across a stone and you feel compelled to pick it up, there's a reason for it. Some reason it's caught your eye or your attention, and you just need to pick it up because there's some element that you just need right now, and that happens. Now, I mentioned that I've had some stones that just had the need to move on, too. When I was working at the rock shop, every so often, we'd have someone come in and we'd be helping them accumulate stones for like a crystal grid or like a healing amulet or something like that, because they were dealing with some sort of health issue or mental trauma of some sort, or for themselves or for as a gift for someone else. And more than one occasion, I would have a stone in my pocket that maybe I didn't normally carry, but I felt like, it's time to carry it today. And if we didn't have it in the store, and the person I was talking to said, needed that element, I was like, oh, well, I guess, it's time for you to take this one and, fly free, little rock. And then I had a snowflake obsidian that I loved, and I had it on me all the time. And then we had a gal come in, and had just been diagnosed with breast cancer, and snowflake obsidian's really good for that. And it's like, you know what? It's time for you to have this. It's the energy from me is passing on to you. And I just got some more snowflake obsidian. I'm very excited about this. But, it takes, a little bit sometimes to replace the stones that you gift. But yeah, when you're done with the stone, it's going to disappear. The other night, I mentioned moldavite is one of those stones. You can have it in a contained environment. You can have it in a jar full of salt to cleanse, and you can empty out the salt out of the jar, and the moldavite will be gone. And it's vexing, but that's just the way of it. Sometimes it's because you no longer need the energy from the stone, from moldavite, which is a lot of strong energy. Or there are times people buy a stone or acquire a stone, and they're not there yet. They're not ready for it quite yet. Moldavite is one of those. I remember there was a big TikTok blast. Everybody was looking for moldavite there for a while. It's not for the faint of heart. It really, truly isn't. So, people were buying it because they thought it was cool, and then they'd have it for about 6 weeks and be like, all right, so I need to regift this because I'm not ready for it. So, remember, some stones have energy that not everybody's ready for. And sometimes you have to work up to it. You have to do some things to get there. The next one to talk about, the shape, would be the point or the tower. It'd be like your obelisk, or because an obelisk specifically dissipates negativity. And then points often increase energies. So in a tower or an obelisk, it could be a variety of sides. It could be 4 sides, it could be 8 sides, it could be etc. Whichever, depending on how it was cut and polished. And some points are very natural that way, like quartz or amethyst. Citrine also. And they'll just cut off the bottom so it's a flat surface and then polished up a little bit so it'll be super pretty. In the energy from a tower specifically, do I have one in my box here? Nope. I've got things. What's this? Nope. Those are rough stones. Just fishing in the drawer here. Yeah, I can't reach and grab one right now. Sorry, guys. But anyways, an obelisk points the energy, if you will. And that directed and focused energy can affect the area around it. So that's why if you go into a meditation room, there's going to be obelisks and other shapes there. And it's to help amplify the energy or direct the energy appropriately. So Wanda says Apache tears are a stone or a lava. So Apache tears specifically, they're a type of obsidian. They're a very natural type. And they're good for grounding and protection. They are a volcanic stone, but they're more clear with dark spots in them sometimes. So they can be partly transparent, or they could be dark brown to black. And they do have some odd shapes, and they're often found in the southwest of the USA. And the meaning of Apache tears comes from a legend, but they're very good for emotional healing, for comfort, and for grief. So they're generally pretty friendly. They're not too strong. They're more supportive. So there's the legend behind Apache tears. Is said that members of the Apache tribe were pursued by the cavalry, and although they fought bravely, they were outnumbered. And then rather than be captured, they jumped off a cliff to their deaths. And the women of the tribe, who were distraught, cried tears of grief. And when their tears hit the earth, it formed into kind of darker, strangely shaped stones. And the tears formed, so it's believed that their tears formed into reality as the unusual stones, so that people would always, always, always remember what happened. But they're also good for psychic protection. And if you are a healer, they can help ensure that your healing process is good, and also by making sure that you are safe. And just like other parts of obsidian, they will absorb negative energy. So they're more of a free form, if you will, than they are. Let's see. So this is more of a free form, if you will, this piece of quartz. It's got a little bit of a druzy to it. I've heard it called a boo stone because it's got a hole that's not quite all the way through. But yeah, free form. Also, Apache tears can help cleanse your aura and cleanse you of negativity. So, very, very powerful stone. There's quite a few other things. I'm going to let you do some research. But if you're someone who does a lot of healing, Apache tear would definitely be something I would keep in your mojo bag, or on you in some way, shape, or form. Jewelry is a good one, or just have a piece. And they do come in multiple shapes and sizes. It's not just like, ooh, hey, they hit a piece of obsidian with a hammer and ran it through a rock tumbler to polish it up. It's different and unique. All right, so back to the points in the towers. A lot of times crystal grids will have a tower of some sort, or an obelisk in the middle or in the corner to help focus the intention and the energy. And sometimes they're going to be placed, especially if you're into feng shui, in the corners of the room to draw the energy correctly and create a vortex of energy. So Leo says he's got an Apache tear in his medicine pouch. Yes, absolutely 100% effective. I keep things like a pyrite and selenite, tourmaline, citrine. I suppose I've got about 5 different pouches that I'll grab at any given time, depending on what I've got going on, or what I'm going to be doing. Because different pouches are, sometimes I disassemble them because for me it's like a toolkit in addition to something I carry on me. And I have a selenite palm stone in one that I use for healing. It's so that people can hold the palm stone and focus on it as we're doing the cleansing. So different uses. If you have problems meditating, sometimes holding an obelisk is a really, really good thing, because it'll help that negative energy or that stagnant energy begin to flow, because you've got basically you're got a hold of a funnel. The energy's got to go somewhere. And then let's see. just some of them are really, really pretty. You can get light bases. So if you're transparent, like fluorite, quartz, smoky quartz, amethyst, citrine, if you've got a tower obelisk, you can set it on the light box, and it shines up like an LED light through the box. It just looks pretty and lights it up. That's fun too. So I started with Sphere, and Sphere is next on the list of my article. It's from Rocks with Sass, and it made me giggle because I was dealing with plantar fasciitis about, a year and a half ago, and the podiatrist that I went to said, hey, go get a cue ball and leave it in the freezer, so when you need to massage your foot, just set it on the floor, put the arch of your foot over it, and roll your foot around. It's like, okay, well, it works with quartz, too. It feels really good, so, yeah. Yeah, plants love stones. I have a couple of geodes that I broke specifically so I could have quartz or crystals to put in with my plants because they seem so much happier with the quartz. But yeah, spheres are really good for massage therapy. Some of them are good at being warmed. Some are good at being cold. I have a salt wand that I'll use for warm just because it holds the heat a little better and it's good for massaging specific points that way. Not such a good thing to put in the freezer because the moment you pull it out of the freezer, if it's hot outside, it gets humid, you get salt water all over the place, it makes a mess. So just make sure the stone that you're using, whether being heated for massage or cooled for massage, you're using the right temperature to go with it. Egg shape. I don't have an egg shape on me either. I have egg shapes, but they're across the room. So egg shapes, very, very similar to a sphere. They have often considered for work with fertility work, and they're really, really good to or for stability. Oh, stones for dreams. Justin, loaded question. All right. So, wow. Be careful what you Google. You will get all sorts of different results. So, labradorite is a very, very good stone for dreaming, especially for lucid dreams. And so, but list is alphabetical, of course. Go away. So amethyst helps with your third eye chakra, because it helps connect you to the spiritual realm. And they're also really good for regulating dreams. So not just dream work, but your lucid dreaming. If you're having night terrors or stress at night, amethyst is a really good one. Ametrine is a combination of amethyst and citrine. So Woods Wizard says obelisks work best when the point and size are actually aligned with the crystal structure of the mineral that is cut into that shape. Yes. I don't have all that knowledge, but yes. So some stones, just occur naturally with different sides. So like the aragonite I have here, it's kind of a diamond shape. It's got four sides mostly. And there's some pyrite from Spain that comes up as it grows into a cube shape, which is pretty fabulous. So, this is just a little drop, free form, if you will, of pyrite. That's just sparkly. It's just pretty. It's just basically kind of like making candy. You drop the softball stage or the hardball stage, and you take a little dip of your sugary water and you drop it in some cold water, and it's like, ooh, what does it do? It forms, and creates a free form. Leo says we need a better way to search. Yeah. Now, rose quartz is very, very good for self-love, my dear. So ametrine is amethyst and citrine, and it combines both sets of the energies. Good for lucid dreaming and dream work also. Mental clarity, and opens up your consciousness. It's a really good thing. Justin says duck, duck, go instead of doing Google. Okay, I'll have to look it up. Howlite is another one that's used for dreaming. It often brings a sense of security. Now, a lot of your artificial turquoise, by the way, is dyed howlite. So once you dye it, it looks like turquoise, but it really isn't. So howlite is a white stone with gray lines sometimes. And it helps with anxiety, negativity, rage. So if you have a teenager that has a little bit of an anger issue, which is like most of them, having a piece of howlite under their mattress may not be a bad thing. Mini-Me created a protection jar and for hanging over her bed so she wouldn't have bad dreams. And down the road, she's going to make another one because I know she is. She likes to make things. And yeah, howlite's going to end up in one of them because I want her to, not have anxiety when she's sleeping. And, let go of some of that rage that she will have as a teenager if she is anything like her brothers. Yes. Howlite is also good for brain fog. So sometimes if you have brain fog as you get older, howlite is really good to help channel that brain fog. And so you have room to actually dream. Labradorite, as I mentioned first, helps create a sacred connection between yourself and the spiritual realm. And so your higher level of consciousness is a little more awake and has a direct line through your dreams. Lepidolite is a purpley colored stone. It's very, very pretty. And it helps with anxiety also. And mood swings, and provides a stabilizing energy to soothe your soul. It's, along with amethyst, is really, really good for dreams in general. So Leo asks, Paisley, is there a website you use for most of your Wiccan search, or a list maybe to search, like for stones in general, or for just what do I look up? I guess I need some clarifiers there, Mr. Leo. A lot of people are, sorry, this is one of those things I scratch my head at. I know some things, yes. I know a little bit about a lot of things, but also the biggest one is I know how to research. And sometimes if you ask a question when you're doing your research or your search engine, whatever, and it's like, this isn't giving me the answer I want. What's another way to ask the question? So, I have books that I use. Learn Religions is a good site. Patheos.com is a good site. Actually, I really like Patheos. Inc.com is really good if you're looking for small business type information. A really, really good one. Let's see. What else do I use? Not that one. Mythopedia is good. Godfinder's good. Dream Moods A to Z is a good a dream dictionary. Patheos is multi-faith, if you will. If you're looking for more Christian type articles or more pagan type, that kind of things, and finding pagan specific writings, that is a little bit of a challenge. There actually is a fair bit on Amazon. If you look up pagan books on Amazon, and if if you're trying to find some resources, it's good to find the artist or the author, and then they often have a website that you can go to for more information. So Leo says maybe put together a list on your site sometime. Yes. Do you want, hold on, pen? Yes, pen. Do you want websites or books or both? Site, books. Drama is doing very good, Jessica. She was purring around my ankles until somebody went upstairs to open the door, and she's like, woohoo, peace out. I'm going to go chase squirrels. Because she's a dork like that. Let's see. Just a couple more stones are good. Kind of blue apatite is good for lucid dreaming. It's good for your third eye chakra and helps to recall forgotten dreams. And if you are trying to focus your lucid dreams a little bit more and control them more, sometimes with the blue apatite you can control and direct them a bit more. Bloodstone. Okay, so bloodstone, you would think, ooh, this is a red stone. Actually, no, it's more blue. It's really, really pretty. Is a very common stone for when it comes to dreaming, because it helps support dream work, and it reveals different perceptions. So if you're trying to find insight into yourself or a situation, sometimes having that bloodstone available to you really helps direct your energies. Kyanite is in the same family as selenite and such. It's very delicate, so you don't want to bang someone over the head with it because it'll go to pieces. But kyanite is very good for intuitive support. So if you're trying to work on your intuition or be more in tune with your sixth sense, if you will, and get rid of some of your self-defeating habits, like procrastination, for instance, kyanite's one of those that you could carry around. I would recommend jewelry because it is a delicate stone. I wouldn't recommend keeping it in your pocket. And it doesn't hold on to negative energy, so you could cleanse other things with kyanite, similar to selenite. Yeah, Jessica, that is a typical cat. I didn't have something that she could get into. If I have coffee, she jumps up here and wants into the coffee. Apparently she doesn't want the ice cream. Go figure. Jade, specifically green jade, is good for enhancing your dreams and helping the recall or the remembering. It also clears negativity and promotes creativity and spiritual and emotional insight as you're dreaming. Red jasper has an energy that empowers the spirit and protects you against negativity. So it's a stone of endurance because it is red. Hold on. Pathos.com. When should you leave your church? Yeah, that is a loaded question, Justin. Clear quartz. So quartz in general, clear quartz is an amplifier of any other stone energy, in addition to having its own energy. So if you're trying to cleanse something and the negative energy or the dark energy is attached to it very, very firmly and you're having problems, often having just good old-fashioned quartz with your selenite or tourmaline is going to boost the energetic signature. And okay, I actually really like quartz. I do like diamonds, but I really like quartz just because there's just a lot more of it and you can do more with it, and it comes in bigger pieces and it's not as expensive. So quartz can clear negativity, and it amplifies the intentions that it works with. So yes, it's just an amplifier in addition to being its own cleanser. Lapis lazuli, or lapis lazuli, depending on how you pronounce it, is good for mental clarity and helps give you the spiritual awareness and supports your psychic and intuitive abilities. So those are really good stones. I will have the link for this particular website. It's cosmiccuts.com in the show notes as well. And it's top of the hour, so we're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll do some more Singing Bowl, and we'll keep talking about crystals and stones and rocks and dreams and all the stuff. So we'll be right back. Hello, my lovelies. How you doing? This is Paisley Wild, and we're off adventuring into these spaces between. So Jessica's asking me about drama and what she likes. No, she's not into lasagna. She prefers chicken wings and mice. She's really, really into mice. Um, but so are my chickens, actually. I've seen my chickens catch 3 mice in this past week, and it's crazy. I haven't seen Drama catch one, which is good because normally she leaves half a mouse for me to find because apparently I'm a horrible hunter, and she doesn't leave them. Yeah, it's cats are such awesome critters. I'm so glad she wants to take care of me, but at the same time, cuddles are better than half a mouse. So, anyways, on that note, singing bowl. Well, hello, Nightshade. How's it going? Yeah, little singing bowl. It feels so good. Yes, yes, it does. So tonight we're talking a little bit about dream work, and as folks have questions about dreams, trying to answer them. But we're also talking about crystals and stones. So we just went through a list of stones that are really good for dream work. Link will be in the show notes. Pathos is a really good website to start if you're trying to do some research. And I say Pathos because there is, it's not just Christian based. You can apparently not search with my computer. Silly computer. You can also look for other different traditions, so different beliefs. There's a drop-down menu. New Visions, non-religion, Hindu, Christian, evangelical, Catholic, Buddhism, and Pagan. So, oh my, Justin. Yeah. And often the articles have a lot to do with what's going on with the world right now. And sometimes it's just like, really? Okay. But there's some good information in there. Just like inc.com has some really good information if you're looking to go into business for yourself, or you want to learn how to be a better manager. When I was working in, upper level management, mid-level management, I paid attention to Inc. a lot just because really good information there. So anyways, let's see here. So healingcrystals4you.com is a good website. Here, I'll give you that one right there. Leo, that's a good one for you. Just because it's a good crystal resource. I go there often. So tonight, we're also talking about like shapes of stones and crystals. Next one on my list is the egg. So, crystal eggs do emit energy from all directions because they are that kind of spherical shape. But specifically, the focal point is at the top or the narrow point. And the egg is really representative of fertility and life. And if you're trying to, focus on new beginnings or personal transformation, something like that, new projects, eggs are really, really representative of that. They're very empowering for the feminine, of course. And they do have crystal eggs called yoni eggs. YONI. We're not going to go into yoni eggs, but yeah, if that's your thing, you talk to your doctor about it. Make sure you get the right one. But crystal eggs, in theory, are said to have the ability to unlock your unconscious energy, so your reserves, if you will. So if you have energy imbalances, for instance, or suppressed emotions, especially during healing, crystal eggs are good to have on hand. So you can, through meditation and focus, you can program your egg, just like you can program any of your stones and crystals, to help you begin a new journey, or, for meditation, manifestation. You can use it for chakra balancing. And sometimes a smaller egg is good for reflexology or for massage, depending on the stone. Pyramids are another really awesome shape. I love pyramids. I have a purple opal pyramid. If Don was here, I'd have him grab it off the other desk, but I can see it. Anyways, pyramids are represented in so many ancient cultures from around the world. We've seen, the pyramids at Giza, just because those are very common. But the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan, they had pyramids. There's just pyramids in many civilizations just around the world. And, often they had spiritual meaning for each specific pyramid, according to their specific culture. But the pyramid is called a tetrahedron in sacred geometry. And its primary focus is for manifestation, because it's taking that energy and it's really focusing it to a specific point. Yes. Time out. Justin has a really good point, and I want to talk about it. We'll come back to the pyramid. So Justin says, I think we are possibly rebuilding many aspects of witchcraft and paganism because so much is hidden, so we are relearning. Yes. I bumped into Mr. Wood's Wizard this past week, just totally by happenstance. But, sometimes you have those serendipitous meetings that are perfect. And I asked him, what his, we were talking about Reconstructionists versus the neo version of paganism or Druidism, or, the different isms. And unfortunately, there's a lot of the traditions that we're trying to focus on now, we are rebuilding in some way, shape, or form from the past. Sometimes we're using information that was written down and filtered through the Christian lens, and some things we're just trying to figure it out. Some traditions have more documentation and others don't. And so I think a lot of what we're trying to do is basically we're rebuilding the paths that were laid before. And unfortunately, we're doing the best we can. Sometimes our eyes are closed as while we're doing it, and just by feel and guess. And sometimes we're doing it with eyes wide open, and we can see what the plan is. So, yes, there is a lot hidden, mostly because it was common knowledge, a millennia ago, or 2 millennia ago, or 3, or whatever. Just like, today it's like, well, this is how you tie a shoe, so why would you, write down how to tie a shoe? Everybody knows how to do that. But who knows, in maybe 2,000 years, people are going to be like, so how did they tie shoes? Was there a certain way? Or was there a best way? They won't necessarily know. And because of that, a lack of written information, if you will, it'll be hard. Or known written information. Because, we're saving information. Now we've got the solid state drives. We had the CDs and the DVDs, and we had the thumb drives, and we've got, all these different ways to store information nowadays. But who's to say in a couple thousand years, are those ways to retrieve information going to exist? I mean, what if, for some reason society ceases as we know it for whatever reason, and they have to rebuild things from scratch? Well, they don't have computers. How are they going to understand what a solid state drive is on a computer? So, oh, thank you, Justin. Justin says it takes people like you to bring it up to the top. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not the only one. There's quite a few people out there, just like Courtney Weber. She's got the book on Hecate coming out. I can't wait to read it. I'm very excited. Just because she did a lot of research and she found a lot of information. And that's something else. She was able to take the time and travel and look up all the different resources and write them out and interpret them. Not all of us have that ability. We don't have the skill set or the ability, just because our lives are set up differently. So, having people out there able to do that kind of thing is fantastic. And put together and come together like we are here, or social media, or Discord, or wherever it is we gather, to talk about the different ideas and thoughts. I think that's hugely important, not just locally. Speaking of which, Hectic Eclectics is meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. At the Ponderay Starbucks, if you wanted to join us and if you're local. I know it's not the best coffee in the world, but it's easy to get to regardless of where you're from. So if you're local and you want to join, yeah, please do so. So anyways, back to crystal shapes. Talking about pyramids. So with pyramids, there is a contrasting yet harmonious output of energy within the shape of the pyramid, because it is, the four sides are equal. A true pyramid, the base may be equal, it may be a little bit different, but it's all that energy is coming to a point, of course, to direct the flow of energy. And similar to, say, a cube, for instance, a very solid and stable structure, very grounded, but allows that energy to move so much more smoothly. And pyramids connect energy from the crown chakra to the root chakra, and it really does help us to feel in tune with the higher dimensional thinking and our higher selves, yet while being grounded to the earth. So, thank you, Leo. Yes, I am working on books. Oh, goodness. I am working on books. The grown-up version is a little different than the child version, and you'd think it'd be easier just to write things than trying to draw them. Not necessarily so. Oof. So, uses for pyramids. They're very, very good for the center of a crystal grid because they do focus that energy. Especially if you have one that wants to be a little bit more grounded. If you're, again, into feng shui, pyramids are really good to help focus that energy. A lepidolite pyramid might help you sleep better. And you can get them in multiple sizes. You don't have to get the big, giant pyramids. You can get the little bitty ones. Hey, pharmacy, how's it going? Hope you guys are having a good day. A fluorite pyramid, or shungite, for instance, near your TV is good for EMF protection. And, having that, stones around us all the time help us in general. I mean, whether it's something you've got in your pocket or something you've got around your house, they just help refocus that energy. Balancing the chakras within yourself, visualizing them and meditating with them, or around you to, allow your energy to connect with the ground a little bit better. So if you're holding a pyramid, for instance, the life force will come into the tip of the pyramid and then ground you and stabilize you. So if you're feeling a little anxious or stressed or distressed or adrift, because sometimes that happens too, having a pyramid in your grip may really help you focus and not lose control or lose touch of the grounding nature that you need. So next one is a wand. So my wand is curved at the end. It does not have points. Mostly because I like it this way. This is, I use it for energy work. It's ambidextrous, if you will. And it fits comfortably in my hand, so it's really easy for me to use. And wands in general come in many shapes, sizes. I mean, technically, my mallet for the singing bowl could be a wand, but this one is my selenite wand. Some wands do have the double point or double terminated, so there'd be a point on each end. And some are rounded on one end and pointed on the other, and vice versa. I like mine. This one specifically is rounded on both ends. I do have a couple of smaller ones. I've got an amethyst wand and a pyrite wand that are rounded on one end and tipped on the other. It's good for intentions and some other things, but this one specifically, this selenite wand that I use for energetic cleansings, love that it's rounded on both ends. It is considered a massage wand, but it's not what I use it for. So wands can be fully rounded or smooth, or it can have multiple sides. You can have a natural crystal point, like quartz or citrine or amethyst, or you can have wood, whatever it is. A wand is very flexible in its nature. But wands allow for energy flow and direction, so directed energy. A lot of times wands are used for casting energetic circles just because you are able to point the energy to do specific things. And that energy is flowing up and down, as above, so below. It's able to direct that energy more smoothly. Often wands are used specifically for healing. Because you can use a wand, for instance, to scan the body to intuitively pick up blockages, energy blockages or chakra blockages, that kind of thing. And if you do have a crystal wand, make sure you get to know it a little bit. You spend some time with it, using it, so you understand, like, oh, if I get the goosebumps or the twinges when I'm doing this thing, that's what that means. Or, I feel nothing when I'm doing this, and that's what that means. So, you need to, if you're using crystals of any type for energetic work, whether you're doing cleansings or meditations, massages, etc., you need to get to know the different stones. So if you have one and you have an adverse reaction with someone when you're doing energetic work, that way you know why. Justin says, you would think anthropologists would have published information about the Germanic tribal culture. You're funny. I mean, the Goths and the Visigoths, that's about all they've got. That's funny. Wanda had to hide her stones in a covered silver bowl that she doesn't use to keep the cats from trying to take them to play with. So Drama, fortunately, does not steal the stones to try to play with them. However, two new additions, one is Yeti and one is Merlin. They are not afraid to play with things. And Drama will still steal feathers, and so will the kitties, Merlin and Yeti. Sure, at some point, Merlin and Yeti will make an appearance. Merlin's my buddy, and he likes to hang out when I'm doing card readings, so his name's Merlin for a reason, guys. But he's awesome. Wands can help charge other crystals. So when you're trying to do cleansing, or a wand is very, very good. So like a cleansing for your bowl, really good to cleanse it, or try to charge a different stone. So this is a carnelian palm stone here. So if I wanted to charge it, I could use the selenite wand for that. You can write affirmations in the air using a wand with a single point. Or if you've got one of those sand meditation things, you can use a wand of some sort with a tip on it to draw your designs to help with meditation and such in the sand. I'm talking about the tabletop ones, not the one you'd have in your backyard. But yeah, they're really, really good at moving energy. I use this one a lot for healing work, just because it makes sense. And so wands that help transmute negative energy would be like kyanite, citrine, black tourmaline, carnelian. And they can help you release that energy that you just don't need anymore. And it will leave you feeling cleansed and refreshed. Just kind of like taking that shower at the end of the day after you've been outside doing a bunch of yard work and you're all hot and sweaty and achy because, you got grass clippings and spider pieces everywhere. Take the shower. It'll feel good. A good dose of soap is good for you. Seriously. So this, my carnelian, by the way, right here, if you can see it on the camera on YouTube. Love my carnelian. Is a palm stone. Palm stones are generally smaller in size. This one's a little bit bigger. But I picked it out because of the pattern that I could see in it. I don't know if I'll be able to show you on YouTube or not. Not really. It just is a big glowy knot. Oh, there we go. To me, this carnelian, it's very red. If you hold it up to the light, it looks like it's got veins running through it, like a heart. So for me, it's kind of a heart stone, if you will, and I've used it that way. I get the goosebumps when I use it as a heart stone. And generally, that tells me I'm on the right path when I'm doing things. Not always. It's just kind of listening to yourself as you're learning and doing things. Your body will give you cues on what you're doing right or wrong. It will. But with the palm stones, and often they're considered like worry stones. They're considered smaller generally. So worry stones specifically, smaller in size, often have an indent to rub your thumb in. Palm stones are generally oval or circle shaped and small enough to fit into your hand. Galette is a little bit bigger. They're more circular or chunky because they stay true to the nature of the material. So this one here, this quartz, would be more of a galette. It's not as much of it is carved away. It's more polished as is. And then touchstones are extra large palm stones. Sometimes like a free form, but not quite. So I suppose my carnelian would be more like a touchstone, just because it is a little bit bigger than my palm. I suppose if I had a bigger palm, it'd be different, but yeah. So palm stones, really good to hold during meditation, just because they're easy. I can hold my quartz and my carnelian very, very easily in my hands during meditation. They're I got the energy flowing right now. They're easy to hold, and the energy flows smoothly and easily. And palm stones in general are very, very affordable. A lot of your pillars, your obelisks, that kind of thing, are going to be a little bit more expensive because they have to start off bigger, and to get the right facets, they require more cutting, more polishing, that kind of thing. Holy cow, can you believe it is bottom of the hour already? Seriously? Hold on. Yeah, it's almost 10:30. Oh, darn. We were just flying by. Palm stones, before I move on, I'll talk more about palm stones when we come back from break, but like my carnelian, for me, this would be about the right size to put under the bed, or is between the mattress and the box spring if I wanted to use it to focus my energy or try to, if I wanted mini-me to sleep better, I'd maybe shove an amethyst under her pillow or under the mattress, because if it's in her pillow, she's going to find it and take it out like, oh, hey, and then I'll trip over it or step on it on the floor, because that's where gravity makes rocks end up, is on the floor. But between the mattresses, that's a different thing. So, palm stones. It's a nice stable size. It's polished. It's firm. It's sturdy. Yeah, this is definitely one I would put between the mattresses just because it is sturdy. Same with my quartz. The aragonite, not so much because it is a little more delicate. And yeah, I can't share that one. She actually has her own. She traded like a pretty pony or something for it with a friend at school. She knows how to wheel and deal. That's just all there is to it. So, bottom of the hour, we're off to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about stones a little bit more and ways to use them, and a little bit more about dreams. And we'll do dreams again next week too. So, no worries. See you in a bit. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we're off adventuring into the spaces between. So tonight, there's an opportunity to talk about dreams if you have them and you want to talk about them. But in the meantime, we're talking about stones and crystals, shapes, ones that are good for dreaming, that kind of thing. So we had stopped at palm stones because it made sense. Palm stones are good that you hold in your palm. They're good for meditation. So here's the thing. If you really need to carry a stone to work for protection, for instance, a palm stone isn't a bad idea because the right stone has really good energy for you. And if someone really makes you mad, you can throw it hard enough, it'll really make a mark. And not that I advocate violence, but sometimes you just gotta chuck a rock at the people who drive you nuts. And I get it. I've been there. Yeah. I've had those stray dogs in my yard. That's all. Palm stones are easy to keep in your bag or your jacket pocket, whether it's your purse or your backpack, your briefcase, that kind of thing. It's a nice stable size, and it's easy to keep in a bag or keep with you. Or if you are wearing a jacket, they fit very nicely into your pocket. And honestly, they're really good fidgets. The carnelian would be an okay fidget. It's a little big. My quartz, because it's got texture to it, would be a good fidget for me personally. My pyrite here, it'd be okay. In my pocket, it'd be a little more hidden. People wouldn't necessarily see it. But my aragonite, that's the one I really use to fidget, especially if I'm on the show and I've got something I need to talk about that I'm like stressing, or if I've had a rough day or something like that. I like the texture of it. I'm autistic enough that texture is a big deal. So whatever meets your needs. That's the advantage of being able to go to a rock shop, that you can touch things. Is you find out what resonates with you, what feels right. So the aragonite that I have here, yeah, that one feels right. It feels right. I don't know how else to put it. Just like my selenite wand, the aragonite, they both feel good in my hands. And that's important. Excuse me. It's like somebody buys you socks and they make your feet itch. Are you ever going to wear them? No, you're not. Unless they're coming to visit, you'll wear them for just a little bit. Like, oh, look, they got dirty. I got to take them off. And then you burn them. Yeah, if it feels good in your hand, that's something you're going to use more often than something that doesn't. Another thing, palm stones. For instance, the carnelian here. That'd be an okay one to fall asleep with, because, like I said, it's a stable structure. And if I rolled over on it, yes, I'd notice. It would kind of suck, but it wouldn't be like rolling over on the aragonite. Aragonite's got a lot of points to it. That would wake me up. The carnelian, yeah, that wouldn't. Even my selenite wand here, yeah, I could fall asleep with that. It's smooth, it's rounded, it's polished. That is an advantage smooth, rounded stones would have over, rough stones or raw stones. Is, if you do sit on them or step on them, they don't have as many pointed edges to give you owies. And some of those palm stones, if you're looking for lucid dreaming or help with dreaming, I'd really recommend palm stones or worry stones, the smoother ones that are easier to put in your pillowcase or a sachet or something that you're going to have either between your mattresses or under your pillow to help you sleep. Heart shapes. Those are absolutely cut and polished. Most stones do not grow in a heart shape. Just saying, as pretty as they are. It's similar to palm stones. They're shaped. They're cut and polished to a shape. They come in all sorts of different sizes. You can get little bitty ones the size of your thumbnail. And I think the biggest heart shape I've seen, it was amethyst geode that had been cut into a heart shape, and it was about 90 pounds. It was huge. It was big. Definitely not something you want to drop on your toe. And so that one had the advantages of the heart shape and the freeform shape and the points all at the same time, along with the amethyst properties, and it was pretty. Is it something I'd have in my house? No, because I didn't identify with it. It wasn't something that I needed. There's some other pieces that I've found that I would love to have, but unless I win the lottery, I don't think I can support my stone habit. That's just all there is to it. But so the heart shape specifically often connect with the heart chakra and can emit energy that is very loving and gentle, while also giving a sense of peace and harmony. So hearts are really good for those who have are maybe extra sensitive to the energies of a crystal, because the output is softer. And so, like beginners, often hearts are very good for beginners. Stones cut and polished in the shape of hearts. Talk about hiding in plain sight for those of you who are in the pagan pantry or the broom closet. Most people won't even realize what they're looking at. It's like, oh, that's pretty. Oh, yeah, it's just something, my daughter bought me for Mother's Day, or, my son bought me for, Christmas, or, my sister bought me, these for my birthday, or what have you. Whatever it is, they don't look witchy. Most people don't associate hearts with paganism or witches. They assume, ooh, broomsticks and black cats and cone hats and, black and goth and Satan and all that stuff. They don't see pink hearts, for instance. Rhodochrosite, pink quartz, rose quartz, that kind of thing. Rhodonite. Yeah. Those are pink. Most people don't say, ooh, that's a witchy thing. It's a pink heart. So if you want a collection of stones and you're worried about the judgment of family and friends because you are still in the closet, it's okay. Get the hearts. The energy is still there. Leo says it's hard to support the wife's stone habit, even more so during the gem show. Yeah, I can only imagine, my dear. I can only imagine, because I'm not allowed to go to a stone show unsupervised. I would spend too much. Wanda finds heart-shaped rocks, and they are very special things to her. Absolutely, I've found a few. I found a few in the wild, not just at shops, but like in the river, and it's awesome. Leo wants to know, when do they get broomsticks and lessons to go fly? I don't know if you have a license to fly that plane there, Leo. I don't know. Unfortunately, I still have training wheels on all of my broomsticks. I just take my Lamborghinis and my Chevrolets, and they get me where I need to go. So, with the heart shapes, very peaceful, very harmonizing. Self-love, self-care. Pink hearts, pink rose quartz. A really, really big deal. I have plenty of them. Leo says, I always go with her, and yes, I hold most of the love. Money. Yes. Yeah. There's just some places I'm not allowed to go unsupervised. Just like, I don't know that I will ever own a sports car, because I know me well enough that a sports car is a bad thing. So unless, again, I win the lottery and I can afford all those speeding tickets and increased insurance prices, a sports car is not the right car for me. I'm happy being a witch driving an Equinox, honestly. It's just, yeah. Yeah. Heart chakra healing, very, very, heart-shaped stones and heart-shaped stone, your heart chakra and heart-shaped stones. Yeah, it's kind of like the right key for the lock, 100%. And you can absolutely program the stones for specific intentions. So stones that are green or pink, like rhodonite, rose quartz, or green aventurine, or green opal, often have a stronger attunement with the heart chakra. And you can even have heart carvings, or etchings. So I could take my carnelian, and if I have an etching tool, I can carve hearts into it and be like, woohoo, hearts. That's awesome. Well, yes, but at the same time, just remember, those heart shapes are very much, focused on your heart chakra. Well, if your Dodge 1500 does what you need it to do, Leo, that's fine. Yeah, I'm happy with my Equinox. I wouldn't go buy a car right now. We have a car shortage. How did that happen? It's honestly, how did that happen? The birthplace of the automobile. How are we having a car shortage? I don't know. It's like we're having land shortages up here. It's just nuts. I just deep cleansing breath. I'm really glad I'm not trying to buy a house right now because I would have some frustration. Whoa, yeah. So, yeah, there's not a lot out there, unfortunately. And the houses that are available apparently have gold plumbing. Just saying. So the next one on my list here is a seer stone. So a seer stone is a roundish chunk of material that's been polished on one side specifically. And then, so the polished side or the polished area often looks like a window inside of the stone due to the optical effects. So that type of carving is normally made into rose quartz, labradorite, clear quartz, angelite, or smoky quartz. Some seer stones are formed from stones that have naturally been polished from running water, for instance, like a river or groundwater. And so that gives the stone a matte and rounded look. Manufacturers will then slice a piece of the crystal off and polish the surface so the inside of the stone can be seen, much like a window. Seer stones are also known as window quartz. Oop, hold please. Hey, I have a call. So we're going to stop there. And hello, area code 971. You're on the air.
Those are formed from stones that have naturally been polished.
Hi, Justin. Is that you?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going? Hello, Justin.
Much like a window. Seer stones are also known as window quartz. Oh, please. Hey, I have a cough.
Justin, you're going to have to talk. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, it's on. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I can hear you.
Hello?
Hi. Can you hear me, Justin? So, I'm not quite sure what's going on with the technology. I know there was an update and it changed everything with the call board, which is vexing as all.
Hello?
Hey, Justin. So I can hear you, even if you can't hear me, dear.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me now? Justin?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sweet. There I am. How's it going?
I don't know what was going on. That was really strange. I couldn't hear anything on this end, but every time I would click on the show, it would be like some crazy noise.
Gotta love the technology, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be making things easier for us.
Somebody lied. Totally lied. So what's new, my dear?
I was calling in because I loved the title of the show, and I really wanted to hear about dreaming because I've been having over the past few years, I've been having a lot of really strange dreams and have done a lot of lucid dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to understand it. A lot of this is new to me, and honestly, a lot of the reason why I watch shows like yours is because I'm trying to understand these things that I've never really studied or, understood
Mm-hmm.
because I've never been exposed to a lot of it.
Right.
But
It seems like when we grow up or as we're growing up, dreams are just things that happen. They don't have meaning. And then we become adults and we're like, and we start learning things for ourselves. And it's like, oh, that's what that meant. So, no, I get it. What things are you dreaming, my dear?
well, a lot of things, and a lot of times it's confusion. It's I'm in a place that is I feel like I'm supposed to know, like it's I understand it as my house or our house, or forum.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a place that we've lived before, that I've understood, that we've lived before,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm familiar with or anything. And a lot of the times it's chaotic, and I'm trying to learn the rooms and the people and the place that I'm in, and it's not something that I'm familiar with or any people that I'm familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
But in my dream, the premise is that this is my house, and our house, my family is there, but it doesn't match up with anything that I've ever seen. When I wake up and I journal it, I'm like, I do not know where this is, and I'm not familiar with this house or this place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's confusing to me.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm dreaming what I'm dreaming at the time.
Well, often when we dream about a house, even if it's one we're not familiar with, it's representative of ourself or our soul or psyche, however you want to look at it. And each of the different rooms indicate a specific part of yourself. Sometimes it might be your feelings, it might be your family, it might be your basement would be like your subconscious, or the attic, your intellect, that kind of thing. And so sometimes if you are dreaming about a house, you're just like, I don't know what this means, even though it's a strange house, but it feels comfortable. Maybe that means you're still trying to discover something about yourself. You're still on your spiritual journey or your spiritual path, your adventure that you're not sure what it is. I have had the house dream myself on more than one occasion, and I get it. On the one hand, it's like, oh well, I know these things and it makes sense, but on the other hand, I was like, I don't know what that room means. So it's taken me about 20 years of consciously dreaming about this specific house and lucid dreaming with it to really understand it and work my way through it. And now I feel pretty, it's like putting on my favorite pair of shoes or fuzzy slippers now when I have the dream. It's like, oh, I'm home, even though it's me that I'm dreaming about, if that makes sense.
Yes. And with that given, though, and you mentioned lucid dreaming,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever lucid dream? Like, my interpretation of, my experience with lucid dreaming is, I can realize sometimes that I am dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And once I realize I'm dreaming, I realize I can do anything.
Yes.
I can fly.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily fly. It's not like I'm flapping my arms or anything, but I realize that I can just levitate off the ground and start moving
It's like the
toward
Matrix.
whichever direction I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like being on the Matrix, if you will. The you're limited only by your what can you come up with. So yeah, I've done that, and sometimes I'll, realize, oh, I'm in a dream, and I take control and I just let it go, see where it goes, see where it takes me, because apparently there's something I need to work through. And other times it's like, you know what, I am not ready for that. We're going to turn it off and we're going to go watch Scooby Doo, because that's where sometimes you're just not ready for it. And that's the advantage of lucid dreaming, is being able to control it and move forward, or control it and turn it off because emotionally, spiritually, you're just not there yet. Maybe you're too tired, and maybe you need the coffee, and I get it. But yeah, that lucid dreaming, I think it's really important. Those are the ones that I really journal, and I put a big star on them. It's like, this was a lucid dream. And I try to note in my journal where I became aware of it being a dream rather than something that is real. And sometimes it's really hard to break out of that. No, this is real. This is really happening. Even though it's like, oh, no. This is a dream. Dogs don't really have 6 legs. And it's hard. But lucid dreaming will help you understand, though, what parts of you still need to work on, or the parts of you that you're trying to develop, if you will. If you're flying in your dream, that means you're feeling some freedom and you're not feeling as restricted. So, fly like a bird. You're free like a bird. You can go wherever you want and do what you want to do. Flying is very, very common in dreams.
Well, that also has its backside too, though, in my dreams, because I'll dream, I'll be dreaming and I'll realize I'm dreaming, and I'm like, oh, I'm dreaming. I can fly. I can do anything, and I'll fly.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I get going so fast that I don't know how to land. Like, if I'm going so fast and there's no motion that I can do to slow myself down. And so I start to worry about how I'm going to land. Am I going to run really fast, when I hit the ground and dig my heels in and stop myself? Or do I shoot for a body of water or whatever? I feel like I'm out of control when I'm flying, That's just sometimes, but still, that's noteworthy. And I write that down. I'm like, why did I go out of control when I was flying? Once I realized that I was in a dream, I should have been able to control that flight.
You would think so.
But I didn't.
Well, often when we're crashing in our dreams, especially if we've been flying, it means that we've got some sort of self-defeating attitude or self-doubt in our subconsciousness that is preventing us from fully controlling and sticking the landing. And it's kind of like a house of cards falling down. It's like, oh, I didn't have this quite set up right. So yes, of course the cards fell down. But if I use smart glue next time, they'll stay up. But similar to this, as you're, crashing, it's not that you don't think you can achieve the things or do the things, because consciously you're like, no, of course I can get this done. Your subconscious is like, are you sure? So you need to tweak your subconscious a bit more and find out why your subconscious is saying, you're not quite ready to do this. Or maybe you don't believe in your ability to achieve the goals that you've put up for yourself. Because I know you've got some pretty big goals, right?
Yeah. And that makes total sense, because I'm not confident in everything that I'm doing. But you're never going to be fully confident in what you're doing, because
you're learning.
If you're doing anything new, you've never done it before. So you're always studying. You're always second-guessing yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Is this right? Am I going to achieve this goal? Whatever it is. But
you're normal.
At the same time, it's confusing in your dream, because you can otherwise control everything else.
Exactly. And it'd be like, well, I've got this under control. Oh, I can do this, I can do that, and then wait a minute, why can't I stick the landing? Well, that confusion that you've got going on, because that happens. If I lose you, it's because the call's cutting out and the show's just about over, and we can pick this up later. But a confused state often. Meaning that you're feeling pulled in two different directions. There's two different things you're trying to achieve. One is independence, and one is, personal independence, and one might be financial independence. And trying to figure out what that means for you might be the challenge. So the show's done for the night. Sorry, Justin. So it's going to cut me off. I'm not going to be able to keep talking. I'll send you an email. We should schedule a chat, and we can go over it a little bit more. How's that?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, let's do that.
Totally.
Alrighty, my dear. Well, you have a good night, and I'll get in touch with you. So, good night, everybody. So, merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. We'll see you next Friday at 9 p.m. right here. Good night, all. Bye, Justin. We'll see you later. I'll message you. Gotta hit the button.